Open for Adventure?
Goat. Goat.
He's goat.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the Lady Dame.
Okay. That's what I
Yeah.
thought, but I didn't want to assume.
We're both Jordan, apparently.
Yeah, sorry, I
Oh,
didn't.
oh no.
I was like,
Okay.
wait, oh right, we both have Jordan on here. It's cool. It's great.
Yes, I am running tech as well. So apparently, the tech issue I had earlier was that they had us two. They had two access keys assigned to my one router, so it kept splitting where it was sending stuff. But one of the keys was
Huh.
dead, so that's why I would randomly get no internet.
That
Oh,
is so weird.
fun.
So supposedly that's fixed now.
Good.
Um, okay,
Yeah, it's so bizarre though.
I told it to start the stream. Has it started yet?
Looking. Yep, we're here. We're online. Hi.
We are live.
Hi!
Hey.
We are
What's
online.
up, people?
Friends?
It's not showing on my end, so
that's
I
funny.
can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got mine.
okay, that's cool.
It's a little
So
buffery, but it's fine.
we are, yeah, there it goes. We are going live again. It's just a brief in between some of our games. If you don't know me, I am Jordan or Goat around these parts. You can find me on Twitter at Mayanestro, or I'm part of the Crit Snacks team as well. Other Jordan, why don't you go introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jordan, aka the Lady Dame, and you can find me on Twitter as the Lady Dame / on Twitch, and also, on the Open for Adventure. I am the instigator behind this extra live stream, so it's been a wild ride. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Graham, or Graham Crackers, or yeah, that sounds about right. I'm at Twitter at Graham Hall 802 at Twitter, or on the Half Right Hero Show on Open for Adventure at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays.
Awesome. So we figured we'd just have a quick GM chat with some of the people who've run games so far. Our first GM from the Midnight game will be on here momentarily.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're jumping in chat and you have any questions, feel free to type them up and we'll see what we can get answered. Otherwise, Lady Dame has a few questions for us.
I do. Okay, so let's see. Jordan, you ran the Kitties campaign
Did.
this evening, and Graham, you just ran Waterdeep Battle of the Bands. What
Yes.
was your inspiration for choosing these games for the extra life one shots? Out of curiosity, like what?
Mine
Tell us
is
about that process.
mine is super easy. I was supposed to have a one shot streamed last week, and I'm maybe having a one shot streamed next week. And in December, I'm starting a long term campaign in the Open for Adventure channel. So I'm writing a lot. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to write another one shot in this short period of time. Let's do a one-page RPG. That'll be great. Those are simple. It's whatever. And then I was like, oh, I could do this. We could do that. We could do the honey heist. That's cool. But I was like, you know what? This channel has a thing for pets. I want to do something for cats. So I wrote up the Cats versus the World. I made it based on a narrative mechanic system, and then just kind of went for it. And it was just something that was kind of funny and lighthearted that people would get into pretty easily. That just was also easy for me on the planning side.
I love the Chonk versus Grace and the Sap
Oh,
versus.
it played so well too.
So good.
I'm glad.
Yes.
And as for how I wrote the one shot was, I had this idea in my head a while back that I wanted to know what a bard battle in the Forgotten Realms or would be. And then I was like, you know what would be crazier is if they had electrical instruments and they were like name bands that kind of come together for festivals, but like they have bardic powers and like they may be at each other's throats. And then I was like, you know what? I bet they have stagehands that are unnoticed and like they're the people that make the big guys. And they're unappreciated, they're underpaid, and what would happen
Wow.
if this show could not go on unless they got a MacGuffin? And then I was like, you know what? I know plenty of people that have like that favorite guitar pick and they're so persnickety they will not play without that guitar pick. What if they lost it?
Amazing.
And then I was like, even better, what happens if that was tied to like a warlock patron? that was trying to get out of a deal.
Amazing. And now this group, now I know, Jordan, everybody in your group were folks who are on our O4A Discord, and Graham, your folks were all new, were a bunch of new folks to us. And so tell us about them, how you know that, like where you have another channel, right? Where you have
yeah. It's a long story, so I guess I'll start now. So one of the players is my cousin, who actually was the one that first introduced me to D&D in 2nd edition when I was like in 2nd grade when he babysat.
Wow.
And so now that I have become more accustomed to D&D, we used to play, him and Jeremy and myself used to play IRL because we all lived in the same town.
Mhm.
So it was a bunch of our friends that would always play together. And then we all got separated due to careers in college. And I took to online role playing in like multiplayer games. So I met Kari and Pharaoh through like 3 years of role play guilds on that. And when I finally said, you know what, I'm not going to role play in MMOs anymore, I'm going to like go move on, play some more D&D with people, I
Mhm.
invited people I liked. I said, hey, would you be willing to play this? And originally we had I had wrote a campaign for them on Daddy Warbucks' channel called
Oh, okay.
Atlantar.
Mhm.
And so we kind of got this close-knit gang of, I think I had 8 players at the time. And then we separated, and I ran another campaign for them. And slowly, like, the players kind of dwindled down to the people that really wanted to play and the people that were playing just because they wanted to be with their friends. Which we love them, but they didn't really want to play every weekend.
It happens. We all
does.
grow up and do things.
Yeah. So for the past maybe like I think 2 years now, I've been playing a mixture of Monster of the Week and D&D with them, along with we have like a running theme where it's like anyone that wants to play with us can just message me or like message one of us and be like, hey, can I pop in? And we just work them in. Guest stars, we've had John from Half Rate Heroes, we've had Casey from Half Rate Heroes just drop in, we've had Katie Quixotic hang out with us, and we just kind of have a good time and play session to session.
Nice, that's always fun.
Yeah, they're a good gang, and the minute I was like, hey, doing a charity event, you want to play? All of them were like, I'm dropping all of my plans. Tell me more.
Oh, well, big thanks to all of them. Okay, so I was thinking about this. Jordan, I know you love to run a lot of different systems, and it's been real. I've gotten to play with you on a couple of them, and it's been super, super fun. And Graham, I mean, you just ran a D&D, and you typically run D&D. What's your guys' favorite systems? Are there any systems that you're interested in playing? What do you guys like to run the most?
I actually have recently kind of determined that this was a blessing. I didn't start with D&D. It was a D20, but it was the Star Wars D20. Was my first ever true tabletop, and it just kind of made me appreciate non D&D stuff maybe a little bit more. And don't get me wrong, I love like 3.5 was my first edition of D&D, and I had every book, and my characters would come from 12 different books and feats from here and just all sorts of stuff. So I mean, I'm all about some D&D, but I do love running some other stuff. I am a big fan of the Green Ronin Dragon Age. It's such a great one. The age system that they have is really a lot of fun, and they implement it really well there. This one's a little broken, and this is the Star Wars game I started on. But it's still a lot of fun. I will say I'm very excited about running a Mistborn one shot here soon. It's such a cool system, and Brandon Sanderson just has so much cool world building and good lore going there. So I really enjoyed that. So I mean, I love D&D. Don't get me wrong, but I love the ability of a lot of the other systems that have a little bit more lore built into the mechanics than D&D does. Because that's one of the advantages of D&D is they keep it really light, so that it's kind of lore optional. So you can sort of apply it how you want, and that can lead to all sorts of cool games like this, Battle of the Bands Bard thing. That wouldn't really work in a lot of systems, but that is something I do like about a lot of other systems, though. Is just that the lore is so entrenched into what you're doing that it adds something to role play for sure for me.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised. I also have that book for the Edge of the Empire. Edge of the Empire I have run in the past. I have run Monster of the Week, D&D 3.5, 2nd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition. One of the games I'm actually really want to play, and I know I've talked this over and fanboyed about it for like 4 hours before at a time, which I won't do that to you guys, is the Green Ronin Dragon Age game. I have a PDF of the entire book, and I, for the life of me, could not find someone that would be willing to DM it. And I was like, I really want to play it.
You know, we had a poll going for a while where this was an option for me to run.
I voted for Dragon Age.
I would have voted for it. But I do agree with everything Jordan said, that one of the things that I think the Forgotten Realms and just all of Dungeons & Dragons, whether it's Eberron, Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance, they all have this very loose canonical lore that you can tweak in whatever ways you want, whether it's making it more modern or making a city a little more gritty. You have these bases to build up from. And one example of that is like the Mournlands from I believe it's Eberron. No, maybe.
Which ones?
The Mournland.
I'll admit I'm not super up on all of the D&D lore. I'm a relative.
Oh man, I'm 95% certain I'm right.
I think that's
yes,
Eberron.
It is Eberron.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Whew, for a moment I was panicking, but to this day it's been talked about in books, in all the novels, and it's like this entire city and like entire empire just overnight everyone dies, and like it's like this mist shrouded area and no one knows why, and they're like, we're never going to go into any example of like why it happened. You can speculate, leave it up for your players. We will never tell you why this happened. And it's just, it's like, yeah, people show up that have been dead for centuries and then they just wake up and they're alive, or like,
jeez.
And it just opens so much ways for creativity and for people to just kind of tweak it to their own storyline.
Eberron is a really rich setting. It actually, I mean, I don't know how much you know about like it's the history of its development, but it was actually fan made originally. They had it as a contest of, it was like in 2003, I think. They were like, hey, let's build a new setting for D&D, and it like 11,000 entries came in, and Eberron is the one that won. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of really cool lore built into that one.
Yeah, it's one of my top 2, I think. Another game that I've always wanted to play, but I have the rules for, is Warhammer. I really like being mean to my players and being able to die on just a random crit.
Warhammer or Dark Heresy?
Warhammer.
Okay, because I've played Dark Heresy
Fantasy
before, and that one is rough.
yeah. Warhammer Fantasy, I think, is a game I would want to play, but it's almost stifling with how many mechanics there are.
Yes. Okay.
And
it looks like one.
Like you
Carlos
have insanity, you have
and we got a little
have illnesses. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of.
Yep.
We got a little funky on the Twitch.
Yep. I'm fixing it.
You got it. It happens. Hey.
Oh, this is nice.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Doing pretty good.
Did you manage to get some sleep?
Just a little bit, but my dog's on a schedule, so.
Oh, sure.
So had to be up for her, and then, well, getting some chores done before the next one.
That's fair. Lady Dame, could I ask a question that I've been starving to ask?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. If you were to run one merger of 2 different TTRPGs, what would it be and why?
Oh.
Frankenstein, a TTRPG.
Okay. For me.
Before we get to that, sorry,
okay, go for it.
Let's introduce our new friend Juan Carlos joining us. If you want to give a little shout out to introduce yourself and say who you are.
Oh, I'm Juan Carlos. I am a DM. I guess I did my first DM for the channel this morning.
You
It
did. It
went
was so
so
fun.
well. It went so well.
Were you watching it, Jordan?
I
I
did.
watched the whole
I had to be up at like 2 a.m. to make sure my slobs was in order for my game. So I was like, I'll just
Uh-huh.
turn on the stream while I'm watching. And so it
Okay.
it did not end the way we thought it was going to.
No, we were because I had Mr. Huggins over here help me with it because I was transposing the thing into a one shot, and you get all this D&D elements into it and stuff like that. So I needed a fresh set of eyes because I know that when you're just staring at something, it looks good, but there's all this stuff you're gonna overlook. And we were just well, we're planning all this, but we know for sure it's not all gonna go exactly the way that we're planning it. So
I saw that the Horn of Blasting survived all the way to the end.
did.
yeah, it did. It did. And I'm glad they kept it.
Yeah.
Well, it was Jen who actually hoarded all the artifacts. Didn't tell anybody, and then didn't even use them all. She's like, I'm just gonna keep them. Uh,
Love
but
it.
yeah, it was good because the last BBEG they needed they needed the help.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm also part of the Sunday Friends group. We're gonna be starting to stream the Sunday campaign for Open Adventure with Camille as a dungeon master, and I run my own podcast, the Paradise Podcast, and I had my co-host on with us this morning too. So we do that, and that's the extent of my D&D resume there.
It's a great one. Um
Right. So the
so
question from Graham was, let's Frankenstein a couple of TTRPGs together.
Mutants and Masterminds and Call of Cthulhu.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Because so like Mutants and Masterminds is just like this really cool, like really positive, like yeah, let's build a superhero. This will be great. And it's like yeah, your arch nemesis, you'll totally take it. And then you just throw freaking Cthulhu at them, and it's just like okay, let's see how super you really are.
Well, I'm all for it. Anything Cthulhu and
Yeah.
well, anything Cthulhu, I'm into it. I'm into it.
So would it be superheroes fighting the forces of Cthulhu as he's slowly encroaching upon the world?
Probably that would be what it is. It would start out as like a yeah, save Metropolis, that kind of thing, and then slowly but surely it would turn into just like what existential horrors can crawl out and grip their minds. Like there would be like a tonal shift as we hit that climax, and oh my god,
Oh,
it'd be great. It'd be great.
I need to see this happen now. Like,
What?
Let's see. I was thinking about this. I don't know a lot of TTRPGs. Again, I'm the newbie here, and but I like the idea of Vampire the Masquerade a lot. Like, I'm a spoopy goth girl, so like I've always wanted to play it. I'm also a big fan of the Weave system, especially in the latest updates. Like they've been doing so much with that and making it super super cool. And I think combining those and giving me that like goth girl horror, but with the tarot card situation that Weave has is like super awesome. But the nice thing about Weave is that you can kind of do that with anything. Like, I mean, I know a couple, Matt Hoadley over on Jam Game Streams and Renee are both writers for the game and are like working on adapting. And it's a lot of work to like
Oh, I'm
put
sure.
into that system because there's so much. But yeah, that would be my like dream, like vampires and tarot cards. There we go.
That sounds dope.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I'm not very well versed with all the different types of TTRPGs that are out there. I know there's some that I've been wanting to play. So if I were to like maybe mix them together, I was thinking maybe like a City of Mist and a Starfinder type of,
Ooh.
I've always wanted to play Starfinder
like a
too.
futuristic cyberpunk, City of Mist godlike powers type of thing. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
legit. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's see.
Well, Graham, what about you?
ooh,
Yeah.
I would do a mixture of Monster of the Week with, with Edge of the Empire.
Okay.
Reason being, Monster of the Week, the DM does not roll any dice. It is 100% narratively driven, where your players tell you what they're doing, roll 2d6, and depending on the result, you either offer them a worse outcome narratively to them to
Sure.
respond to, a
Yeah.
mixed success in which they have to choose to sacrifice something, or like a complete success, they do what they want. But I feel like with Star Wars, too many rules makes it too complicated. No one enjoys it. But if you say, I'm going to use the Force to throw that guy into a wall, and then you just narratively have to adapt to be like, oh, well, he deflects it, or like something like that, or like offer them an outcome like, yeah, you can throw them, or they're gonna chop off your hand if you do this. Like, I think it has a lot of room to kind of free flow and let people kind of do what they want in their theater of the mind, and then kind of play off it narratively.
I like it.
That sounds fun. I like that.
Okay, so next question. Y'all are used to, have run the home games and are used to working with people, and that's where most of us get started and everything. And I know, Jordan, I think O4A is your first time streaming online, is that, or DMing online, is that correct?
One time previously at a con, but other than that, yeah, this is my first time, especially with me like running the tech as well.
Yeah.
This is my first time for all that.
And what I'm curious about are like, what are the things that you find, what's the difference between DMing for a stream versus DMing, for online versus DMing at home? Like, what is that? What are some of the challenges? What are the things you like about it? What are the things that you kind of, let's talk about that for a little bit.
I definitely think that on the stream, I'm a little more mindful that there is an audience. Like, I don't change the game at all. I don't really change how I DM for stream versus home games. But I'm more likely to give a little bit, just kind of change the way some of the information is presented. Especially since we do mostly theater of the mind through this kind of stuff. There's not a lot of tactile sensory stuff.
Right.
So I try to be just a little bit more descriptive than I usually would be. Just because it's that extra layer of interaction. Because in a home game, you can have a moment or two of dead silence and dead space and just people going, huh, okay. You don't really want that in a stream situation. Because people will be like, hey, did the chat freeze? Is it okay? Like, you kind of want something to always be happening to some degree. Obviously, there are moments where everybody should just like, whoa, like, or there is a time for that reaction. But I try to help mitigate it in those moments where it's just like planning phases of, okay, what are we gonna do, guys? Gonna give them a little extra.
Right.
Especially with like rules, when you're uncertain about rules, you don't have the time necessarily to go through a player's handbook and identify the rule. You have to make like a split decision, be like, I'm going with this or I'm going with that kind of deal, is what I found.
Yeah.
Really. Is like, you have to make a quick decision. You don't have time or the luxury to look it up. You can't really delegate it as much as you may want to be like, you go look up your own spell and tell me what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. And I was really lucky that for my first stream, I had Connor in there. And Connor was kind of my index for everything. And he kind of just stepped in and he was just like, oh, that's a this or that's a this. And normally, and it wasn't in a backseat DMing type of way. It was just like, I think he felt that he knew that I needed the help. And I'm not like this professional for D&D, all the rules. Like, I haven't memorized them all, or even all the spells, or even all the items and all that. So he did, and or at least he knew everything we were doing. So I appreciated his help a lot. So that was great. But to specifically answer your question, Jordan, I think what I was kind of the most anxious about was the time constraint. We have our 4-hour block, and what I was most concerned about was, can I fill that, or will I have too much? Are we where we're supposed to be time wise? And when the other Jordan and I were, looking at stuff, the way that I set up the one shot is I set it up by time triggers. Like, at this time, this event's gonna happen. At this time, this is gonna happen. So that way, I kind of had a way of like, okay, so for 15 minutes they can sit here and talk, but then this crazy bomb's gonna go off in at 10:30 or whatever, and that'll be like, oh, wait, now we're doing this, and I wanted that as well, because I wanted them not to just get stuck on this one thing, or if they, just like everything's going on and something's going on here, something's going on there, and stuff was going on in the background that they didn't see. So that kind of pulled them into like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, especially since your game was a much more like mystery suspense thing. It could be really easy just to let players wander. I loved the way you had your outline and like kind of that. Even if they didn't necessarily know that was happening, there was definitely a feel of like just this marching dread of it doesn't matter what you're gonna do, it's gonna get you. Like just oh, it's great. I love that.
That's really brilliant. And that was the thing when Camille and I were talking about, coming up with the time slots and things like that and figuring out how long these extra live streams were going to be, you know, sometimes, 3 hours is perfect for a one shot, but then I know Jordan, we've done one. We have run much longer because we were having so much fun, and so I wanted to make sure that there was enough time and enough room for that in there too, to like kind of be able to play a little.
5.5 hours.
I know. Well, it was so good though.
Yeah, and I mean, the best thing about a one shot is you can always turn it into a campaign. Well, most of them you can turn into a campaign at the end if everyone enjoyed it and everyone really wanted to continue doing it. That's kind of to me the signal that it was great. That you made it. You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And you also don't want to, as a DM, you're worried that like, am I taking away their agency? Like, if they're really like going down this investigation hole, like, what is this? And then if I have that time constraint, something happens, it's like, oh, geez, are they gonna stick with what they're doing, or are they gonna go? They're gonna change course, and you don't want to take that away from them. So I was a little worried about that, especially because I've only played with less than half of the people that I was playing with. So I was like, I really don't know what your preferences are, but I really hope you're okay with it. And everybody was super cool about it. So, yeah, so I did enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a few more people that were new for Open for Adventure too on yours one. So there was and people that you hadn't, a lot of people who kind of like we filled in at the last minute. I was really impressed with a lot of that group, and it was really fun to watch. I had a great time with it. Just
yeah, that means a lot, especially when you're so anxious about how's everybody gonna like this, especially people playing, watching and stuff. So thank you for easing my emotions.
No, it was really really fun. I'm sad I missed the kitties, and I am working later today, so I couldn't watch all of yours.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up watching that later.
Oh yeah, for sure, all of them.
On YouTube.
It was a delight to play.
Camille will be having to fix the cats one a little bit.
I know.
So...
yeah.
But
we had a few gaps.
Those internet problems.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah.
That's the one that I wanted to play in, but just the time slot. I'm just like, that's
Danny did it. Danny played in yours and then played in ours, and we did our call outs and stuff afterwards to be like, everybody did so good. And we got done. She's like, I'm gonna go pass out now. We were like, go to bed. Like,
yeah, like we're doing our plugs, and she's just like, I'm Danny, and I'm so tired. Like off I go.
We were like, please go get some sleep. Good Lord, you've been up for like 13 hours, like 18 hours or something crazy. Like,
yeah, like I cannot even imagine. I fell asleep early just so I could wake up for kitties and then have a little bit of time to prepare for the Waterdeep Battle of the Bands.
Oh, did you run that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
How'd it go? I was sleeping during that.
I ran a little early, but some of my players were having technical difficulties, and
that's fine.
Well,
it allowed us
who
to
has
put
tech difficulties?
Yeah, that never happens. That's another thing that when you're online instead of playing in person that you have to kind of work around is sometimes people's internet just randomly shuts off, and then you go, do we continue this conversation? Do we wait?
Right.
You have no guarantee.
Right.
But no, it went well. They seem to really enjoy it. I really enjoyed the characters they came up with on the spot, especially the barbarian orc drummer named Butch Tusks, who's like, I used to be in a band, but I broke all the drumsticks because I raged too hard. and then shining to Anvil Levine.
Anvil Levine. Nice. I remember that moment. I was like, no. I mean, when I created the thought process, I was like, how many bands can I make with puns? Like, yeah,
I had like a list of like 40 bands,
Terrible.
Then I was like, you know what? Pitch of the moment, I'm just gonna come up with which ones I want. And then I was like, he was a satyr boy. She said, "See you later, boy." Be any more obvious?
As a consummate satyr in most LARPing scenarios. Like, no joke. These are my horns.
Oh, those are so
Aw.
cool.
That's like an actual goat horn. I have a buddy that does bones and bone cleaning and whatnot. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
it's dope.
I see a sneaky Kate in the background. Hi, Kate.
Hey. That's
Yeah.
so sneaky.
So sneaky.
Max sneak.
Well, we're running.
We are running. We've got like 7.5 minutes, and I know Juan Carlos, you're playing in the next game, right?
Yeah, and I gotta get ready for the
Yeah,
tech too.
we need to let you go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before we let
Yeah.
everybody run off, just remember that today all our streaming is in support of the Extra Life charity. It's a great charity helping the Children's Miracle Network. We're happy to be a part of this big day that they do to raise money. The donation links are all working again. They
Yes.
They crashed
Yes.
this morning for a little bit, but they're back up. We hit our initial goal for that was $250, and we've now raised it to $500. So we want to keep
Yay.
pushing that. We want to do what we can because helping kids is important.
Yep. And at last count, we were at 335, and we've got some fun stuff coming up for the next stream.
Hell
I do.
yeah.
That Morgan's
Yeah.
running.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Mor-
look
As
forward.
some-
stay tuned. Here in about 15 minutes, Morgan's going to start running Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which just sounds great.
Oh,
So stay
yes.
tuned. Hang out in the chat. We are also giving away a D&D Beyond Legendary Bundle, which is
Sure.
essentially it's digital copies of all of D&D's currently published stuff and
Everything.
access to their character builder. That even includes Descent into Avernus, the most recently released adventure. So it's there's a lot of cool content there, and we're giving that away to a lucky person. So
Yeah.
just stay tuned for that. And of course, after Morgan's game, we have Veils and Vengeance,
Which is going to be run by as far as what I know about it is it's princesses, and it's run by Connor.
I love
He's
it.
our D that one.
I love it. And then
Everybody's a princess.
from 11 to midnight, we're just going to celebration, hang out, whatever kind of thing. So come back in for that. That'll be a lot of fun as well. And I think that's good. I'm Jordan. Again, you can find me on Twitter at MyNestro or Crit Snacks.
I'm Jordan, aka the Lady Dame, and you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at the Lady Dame, and sometimes just hanging out in Open for Adventure, yelling about stuff.
Want to ignore me?
Go for it, Graham.
If you insist. My name's Graham. You can find me on Saturdays here at 11 o'clock to 2 on the Half Right Heroes show, or you can find me around.
And I'm Juan Carlos. I am Sombrero on Twitter and Instagram and anywhere you can find me. And you'll know it's me because I got a bear with a sombrero. And I run the IDM for the Paradise podcast. So you can catch us every other Monday we release an episode. So
All right. Thank you all much, and